Hello my spiritual fam, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to Earth Angel Gemini, where I share weekly videos, all things spirituality, crystals, astrology, rituals and so much more. So if you're new, subscribe to the channel and be part of this spiritual community. So today's video is very exciting. I'm going to be telling you a bit about the moon, her cycles, and how she relates to our health and our wellness goals, how we can use the monthly cycle to incorporate our goals, our wellness goals, and really, use that energy of the moon and, make our wishes come true, make our health goals a reality. It's not going to be so much about each different phase, it's more just a general monthly way we can use the moon and different stages in our daily habits. So if you are a male and you're watching this, I'm going to be getting into a bit about women's wellness and menstruation, but you can still, if you watch this, you can still use the moon's monthly cycles. But if you're a female and you're currently menstruating, getting a period, you can use your menstruation cycle. But anyway, I will talk more about that later on. So let's get into the video and I'll teach you some moon healing facts. So the moon is always growing and changing through her monthly cycle, and she influences our lives, including our actions, emotions, as we feel her in each of our phases. The moon governs the rhythms of the body, including our emotions, habits and patterns of living. And according to medical astrology, the moon is linked to the breast, the uterus, the menstruation, lungs, and also the mucous membranes of the body. And the moon is also associated with nutrition and digestion of food, both on a physical and emotional level. So the waxing phase, which is the growing phase, and the waning phase, which is the decreasing phase of the moon, can be connected to many aspects of our life. This 28-day cycle can be used for achievement, wellness and relaxation. And in case you're not familiar with the moon cycles, the waxing phase, which begins at the new moon up until the moon is at its peak, which is the full moon. This 14-day cycle symbolizes the seeding of the plant until it is fully bloom. We often symbolize this phase as a new beginning, a chance to start fresh, and also to plant ideas and intentions and goals in our life. And the waning phase, which starts at the full moon and then ends at the new moon, this symbolizes wisdom and release of what is no longer needed. It's a slow, gentle kind of energy which gives us the chance to be reborn at the new moon after deep rest, contemplation and death of the old. So then we can be replanted after all this kind of death symbolization again at the next new moon. So it's so magical and wonderful learning about these different stages of the moon and what they each symbolize. And believe it or not, there is a similar cycle, which is the menstruation cycle. So this has the same rhythm as the moon cycle. And women actually have different strengths and weaknesses in different phases of their menstruation cycle compared to men, according to a study. So the first half of the menstruation cycle begins on the first day of bleeding, and that is up until day 14, which is when we are ovulating and our hormones are peaking. This actually surprised me, but the first half of this cycle is when we are at our strongest. We are more resilient, we can withstand more harder exercise, and we recover faster. Our bodies are actually capable of burning more carbs than fuel, muscle mass is easier to gain, and recovery is quicker. And the second half of the cycle, which begins the day after day 14, is when we fatigue more easily and we don't recover as easily as the first phase. And we are not also as good as burning carbs for fuel. With higher hormone levels, we can actually have more cravings and also have more fluid retention. This cycle is the resting phase of this cycle. So long and slow walks and yoga and stretching is more ideal for this cycle. We may feel more hunger cravings and actually more emotional at this time. So now that you've got a bit more of an understanding about the moon cycles and also our women's cycles, how does this connect to one another? How can we use the healing of the moon's rhythm? The new moon to the full moon is the growth phase, which is the waxing phase, where we feel increased motivation and more stronger, just as the moon does as it grows from a tiny little crescent all the way to a bright full circle, which is the full moon. The full moon to the moon is the shrinking phase, which is the waning phase, where we feel a drop in strength and stamina, and we need more rest and recovery as the moon begins to wane and shrink, decreasing in light and size. These cycles can differ slightly with each person, and if either the new moon phase doesn't align with your menstrual cycle or you don't have a menstrual cycle at all, you can still use the moon cycle and align it with yours. Your day one will start on the new moon rather than the first day of bleeding. So for me, I usually get my menstrual cycle around the new moon, which works out quite well. But I still feel like I am currently out of balance and I need to adjust these different energies by using all these healing moon cycles. So we can apply and use these different energies of the cycles to our own healing goals and phases of life. So this includes spirituality, health, finance, relationships, and career. We can come up with our own goals and our own intentions in the different days of the month. And I'm going to start actually doing this as well, and I'll probably, share what kind of, if I achieve my goals more well in the different cycles, whether it's the motivation cycle or whether it's the resting cycle, and I will share it because I find it so interesting and it just makes sense. And if you'd like to actually utilize this as well, let's recap. So make sure you get your journal or your notes on your phone and write the following down. So day 1 to 14 can be used for motivation, strength, pushing through, starting over, new ideas, and goals birthed. So this starts on the new moon or day 1 of your period. And then day 15 to 28 is for deep rest, gentleness, growing, contemplation, letting go, and death. So this begins on the full moon. Day 1 to 14 is the waxing phase of the moon, which is the growing phase, and day 14 to 28 is the waning phase, which is when the moon is decreasing. So I hope you enjoyed this video and got to understand a little bit more about the moon, its energy, the cycles, but also our natural body's cycles as well. And I hope you feel inspired, just as I do, to actually start implementing these different intentions and goals for different days of the month. So you might want to, have a journal where you record your days and your goals and what phase of the moon it is, or you might also have a calendar where you can, fill in each of the squares of the calendar and, kind of plan out your month and your goals and, whether it's health or wellness or spirituality, and really just get into it and make the most of that energy. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up, and if you're new, subscribe for more spirituality videos. So as I'm learning more about astrology, I will definitely be sharing more videos about the moon. So if you'd like to see more videos relating to the moon, let me know. But I also do have a full moon and a new moon ritual that is quite popular on my channel, so make sure you check those videos out. Okay, have a lovely day or night everyone, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!